Welcome to the Exposed Strength Podcast with Jared Bidney. Here we go with another round of weekly shit. This is going to be a combination of several weeks since I've been slacking. So anyway, here we go. First off, I'm going to start creating an online store because I don't do a very good job of making my T-shirts here. So I'm going to have a store online to where you can go out, pick out your color shirt, the color of logo, and different things. So I've got water bottles, hats, and we'll probably come out with some other things if I can ever get off my butt and get that jump book out. That'll be on there. I'm going to start working on some YouTube videos showing how we do our press downs and how we do different exercises instead of just going through and doing them, or just talking about them. See exactly how I do it or how I would approach doing it. So anyway, got that out of the way. Let's start with Saturday. Okay, a couple weeks ago was our test week, and for those of you who don't know, if you test in the morning versus testing in the afternoon, you could have a different result. Numbers are different. So just depending on whether you're a morning person or an evening person, and that time can vary. I guess the time is between 2 p.m. and 6:30 p.m. And if you're a morning person, you could probably 2 to 5 hours prior to 2. So as 12, so whatever. So it's 9 o'clock in the morning, you'd still be good. Or if you're at 6:30, it's 2 to 5 hours outside of that time frame. So 2 to 5 hours from 2 p.m. back up, or 6:30 p.m. You can go as late as 10 o'clock at night. So anyway, don't want to confuse you with that. But anyway, you'll test differently. If you're a morning person, you'll test good in the morning. If you're not a morning person, you'll test better in the afternoon. And the variable can be up to about 10% performance difference. That come from Science of Sports Training in that Thomas Kurtz book, somewhere in there. Read that years ago. Being I test every month, every week and stuff. I mean, every month, every year. I don't know how many times I've tested people. I don't know how many 40s I've freaking tested. But I try to test all the time. And so I had a kid. He ran a 4.59 40, 4.59, 4.60, and a 4.61 in here. And he did that on like a Thursday afternoon. And usually if you run like on Tuesday and you test bad, sometimes testing once earlier in the week can potentiate a better test result later on in the week. So like if you had some kid, like I had a kid that was running 5 flat, 5 flat, 5.1, come back Thursday, he was running 4.9s and 4.8s. So the variable of going from what I'm going to talk about, it's going to relate to the morning thing. So, but if you test the day before, like I may have talked about this on some other podcasts, is that if a kid has like basketball practice or soccer practice, or I had a kid one time, he was supposed to run a 4.9 40, and he comes in and runs a 5.2 or 5.3 40. I said, what the hell? What'd you do? Did you do anything yesterday? Well, yeah, I practiced my 40s, and my wheels started turning and things, and I had another girl she tested worse, and I said, what'd you do yesterday? Well, I had soccer practice. And so over time and over the years of doing stuff, and I said, this just different times and different variables is, man, what'd you do yesterday? I had a basketball game. Oh, okay. So once I saw that their numbers were not improving, because I knew the kid was here consistently, it's a lot of different people. The athletes were here consistently, and their testing was not showing up like it was supposed to. So then I'd start asking, what'd you do the day before? I did this. So that's why we were having a negative test result. So that one kid that was practicing his 40-yard dash, I tested him on Tuesday, and he was practicing his 40-yard dash that Monday night, and so it had bad test results. I said, don't do anything at all Wednesday. Come back in Thursday. We got our 4.9 40-yard dash. And so if you take off the day, and like sometimes when I'm training my guys for the pro day, we don't do anything 3 days typically prior to whatever they're doing. We do nothing. Don't practice. Don't freaking think about it. And you'll see these people on like TV when they're getting ready for the NFL Combine. They're in a hotel room practicing the night before. Well, you know what? A lot of these people, I've had kids come here that have been other places, done NFL Combine training. They come here and we test and we monitor our numbers a lot differently. They may go practice the drills elsewhere in other places that do combine training, but they're practicing the drills. They're not going against numbers. And so after all these kids have been through here, I know, okay, that's damn. And at one person didn't even test his 10-yard dash, 20-yard dash, or any test results for, I think, 4 to 6 weeks. So if you don't know where you are, how are you going to know where you're going? If you're in the middle of the U.S., how are you going to get to Georgia? Or if you're middle of the U.S. and you want to go to California, how are you going to get to California if you don't know what freaking state you're in? So that's very aggravating because they're paying high dollar to go. They deal with more NFL athletes than I deal with, and those guys are paying high dollar to go do that training, and they're not getting their numbers monitored and tested consistently. That kind of pisses me off. It's like, okay, you're practicing, yeah, but like when we practice here, when we practice our pro shuttle, I think I've talked about this before. I know if you're running a 2.7 in your first 10, we're not going to move on to the drill till we get down to a 2.2 at least. So anyway, I don't know how I got off on that, but we're constantly monitoring numbers. And so that kid that ran a 4.60, 4.59, 4.61, that was consistent 40-yard dash. He tested on a Thursday. He said, Jared, can I retest Saturday? I said, yeah. For all the athletes we test in the afternoon during Monday through Thursday. Right now I'm closed on Fridays. I don't know when I'll open up on Fridays, but I'm open on Saturday and Sunday. So I'm here 6 days a week. So this kid wanted to come in and test Saturday. I said, anyway, we came in Saturday morning. I said, are you a morning person or an evening person? Kind of both. Well, it's you're either one or the other. So a lot of times these kids will, I feel good. And I don't care. It's Mother Nature that we're trying to freaking battle with. And so, are you a morning person? Well, whatever. So a lot of people, they think they're a morning person and they don't know. The only way you're going to know is if you test. Like everything you do, you've got to figure out where the freak you are. So anyway, he tested. That day he ran a 4.81, 4.83, and a 4.84, I believe. And what I'm getting at is he tested in the afternoon on Thursday. He ran a 4.59, 4.60, and a 4.61. He test Saturday, and he don't even run a 4.7. He was running into 4.8s. And so that goes to show he's more of a performer in the afternoon hours. And so I've done that to several other kids. Like if they want to come in and retest, let's come after 12 o'clock to do that. Don't come at like that kid was at 10 o'clock in the morning, which is pretty early. For some, but if you're looking for test numbers, it is. Like even when we do our jumps on Saturday morning, our jumps are worse. Like, Jared, I can't even get close to, we're in the freaking morning, and they don't really understand that because everybody thinks, what they think. I think that's the biggest problem is they think is they don't really understand that there's different things that go on, and they think just because they think they feel good that they're going to do good. Or I feel fine. It's not about that. That's why you got to, these kids, when I have them squat, Jared, I can't do this. I don't feel like doing this today. Well, most of the time, when they don't feel like doing it, they actually end up doing good. And that's why we monitor it with the Tendo unit. Their squat speeds are actually better, and they don't make sense. They may not feel good, but they're actually performing better. And that's why I don't like that, got a kid here and makes fun of me because I hate the RPE scale so much. If you go based off your feelings all the time, you might as well just sit in a freaking corner and cry because you're not going to get any better if you worry about how you feel. And it's more about results. So is there a way to monitor something when you work out? Like when you're squatting, you got a Tendo unit, you're benching, you bench with a Tendo unit or not or whatever. And sometimes you got to make sure that if that's the main lift you're pushing up, you may have to back off on some of the other things. So anyway, that 10% variable in the morning versus, and so like if I were to test someone for the first time on Saturday morning and come back and we were to test the next month in the afternoon and have better test results, I don't know if it's because it may not show me that my training was actually working in the right direction because he actually tested at a different time. When I was prepping one guy for the NFL, we did morning stuff because his pro day was going to be in the morning. So typically we try to work out in the mornings if you're getting ready for your combines, when you're going to be, if you got afternoon, we're going to try to work out in the afternoon. Try to train as close to your sporting event as possible. There's also been several books and research that shows that if you practice at the times that you're going to be playing or performing, that you'll actually perform better. So that way, because you're always monitoring yourself based off of that time of day. So if you change the time of day, you change your variable, which could make you get more or less more, or have just a better workout, or maybe even a worse workout, or even a good sport performance day or a bad sport performance day. So testing in the morning versus the afternoon makes a big difference. Enough said with that. I actually had a person the other day. She said she does plays and stuff at school, and she told them that she was going to be late because she had a doctor's appointment. Well, she came to see Dr. Explosive here instead of going to the rehearsal. She did go later, but she did not want to miss her workout, so she told them that she had a doctor's appointment. A lot of kids were like, man, that's a way for me not to go work out. So I think that's pretty cool. Just wanted to mention that. Let's go over Alex's stuff. Had a mom said, Jared, I don't want her to get hurt. And I said, close your eyes, because you gotta. They're not gonna get hurt. Our thought process sometimes get in the way because we're pushing these kids, but the kids, like, they're totally different under 18 to 20 years old. Anything under that, like 9, 10, they recover so quick and they're so much more resilient to injury, and they either can do it or they can't. So they do a really good job of bouncing back from different things. And it's not like me. If I were to go in there and do some of the stuff, it takes me a little bit longer to get out of it, just probably age and stuff. And a lot of times when we hear all this research is done on older populations, not a lot of people deal with as many kids as I do. So I've gotten a lot of years of experience dealing with that, pushing them, like my own kids. I tried to push the crap out of them. And so they were all pretty successful as far as athletic performance stuff. So anyway, I had a little girl, Alex. She went to her first powerlifting meet at 65 pounds, 9 years old, 65 pounds. I should have done the calculations on this, but anyway, she was able to grind out a 77-pound bench press, but didn't count because her butt came up. She actually left the meet with a 71. But I wanted to mention the 77 because she tried so hard and she didn't give up. Because I always get on to her for the gym, you're not trying. And she thinks she's trying because she's actually doing it. But when I'm talking about trying, I'm trying a little deeper level, is trying to go get mad at it, play some type of psychological game with yourself in order to manipulate you to get better reps. Like I had a kid the other day that was trying to squat and trying to beat his tendo numbers. Guess what? He was squatting by himself. I said, you cannot do it by yourself. You're going to have people come around, surround you, and let them watch you, because that puts some type of pressure on you to where your numbers will get better. Just like I had a kid the other day, and he was jumping, and he was over there jumping by himself. And I think he was over there like 20 minutes, and I was like, I'll go there, I stand there, I look at the thing, and sometimes I don't really affect the kids because I'm me. So he was supposed to get a 21-inch vertical to beat his numbers with the weights in order to move on, because sometimes I got kids that I don't let them move off the jump station. I don't like saying things. When he's on the list, his jump, got to beat his jumps. I don't like saying stations, but anyway, he's over there jumping, and he wasn't getting even close to his numbers. And so there was a couple of girls that walked in, and he's never seen them before, but no one wants to look bad. So I said, look, all right, here, let's jump now. And so he was struggling, had to get a 21 to break his record. He actually got a 22.3. So he went up, I think the highest was like a 20.6, so almost went up 2 inches just because of that. And I said, see, you've got to do something different. I said, go turn on the radio, put on some music, put on a song you like, or do something in order to play a psychological game on yourself so that you can change your numbers today in the gym. You change your numbers even by a little bit, you'll get better and you'll get better. And so the next time he came in, he was jumping 21s consistently. So once we kind of break through a barrier, it's a lot easier for them to hit that barrier again or come back. So like even when I test my softball girls for their throwing speed, they may spend 10, 15 minutes trying to go from 61 to 62, but the next time when we come in and test, they're hitting 62s right off the bat pretty consistently. So that's one person, or they may go from 47 to 48 and struggle to get 48 for so many minutes. The next month we test, all of a sudden they're hitting their 48 right off the bat. So once I think that the body achieves a certain number or a level, that it's easy to regenerate that number again. Like when I had that girl that's not, she came here with a 14-inch vertical. She left and went played college softball, did a podcast with her. Years later, she was heavier, gained weight, not jumped in years. Her best jump here in the gym was 30. And she, without jumping in years, I mean, you're talking about 3 to 5 years, no jumping, came in, still jumped to 25. You still have some type of residual effect from the training that you did. And so that's why I think it's important. If you can just push your body to hit that number, that it's easier to get back to it. But if you've never been there before, it's going to be a lot harder to get back to it. So anyway, so little Alex was grinding out with 77 pounds. So next meet, she should be able to get 80. She did a 71-pound bench, a 121 squat. The story about the squat is when we lived with the USAPL, so they called me and said, Jared, do I need to bring a youth bar? I said, no, she's got this. And I'm not going to take a lifter to a meet if they have to use a youth bar. It's just not a representation of the gym. So if we're going to go to a meet, we're going to lift a real bar, and if you want to go to a meet with me, you got to lift a real bar. And so when we go in and weigh in, you're supposed to put all your numbers in kilograms. And her opening squat was 45, which is 99 pounds. And so they said, are you sure this is kilograms? I said, yeah, that's kilograms. She's going to start off with a 100-pound squat. And they looked at her because she's only 9 years old and not very big, not very tall. And she weighed in at 65 pounds. So anyway, she goes out there for her first squat attempt. She got all whites on her squats, all 3 squats. And after she squatted for the first time, they started paying attention to her because, man, that's a little bitty girl moving some next weight. So she went from 99 opener, then we went to 110. Then we ended up squatting 121 at the end. And after she squatted that 99 pounds, people started paying a lot more attention to her. Then they started recording her, filming her walking around. And I said, Alex, look, you're going to be famous. So she did a really good job that day. She ended up deadlifting 137 pounds, only weighing 65 pounds, 9 years old, weighing 65 pounds. So it's 71, a 121, 71, and a 137 because we go squat, bench to deadlift. And another thing is I let her use a belt on meet day. So we're able to break numbers and try to do better with that. Her highest squat in the gym was 105. And we don't ever use a belt. I don't like people using the belt in the gym. I see people like, oh, Jared, I got to get used to it. No, you just got to get used to being weak without it. And so a lot of people, you can put a belt on and you lift more weight, but it's not necessarily going to make you stronger. By not using a belt, your obliques and your trunk muscles, your lower back, they have to work harder. But once they adapt to the stress, your trunk gets so much stronger instead of relying on the belt for pressure, is that you're able to increase a lot more internal pressure by training without the belt than you would if you trained with the belt. So like I had kids like Cody, all the kids I take to the meets, we don't use a belt in the gym. Cody, Alex, I had an Alex kid. This is a guy, Alex. He squatted 661 at 17 for the USAPL. We lived with USAPL because they drug test. I think drug testing our athletes, it's kind of like a reward if we get drug tested, because if you get drug tested, people think you're strong, So you don't think you're strong, you're strong when you start getting tested. So, that's kind of fun. A lot of my kids have been drug tested, so I like that. But anyway, we don't use a belt and get used to it. No, just put the damn belt on and go squat. And I said, Alex is going to make a big difference in you. So she ended up squatting that 121. The most she pulled in the gym for a deadlift, I think, is 125. She ended up pulling 137. And get back to the gym, she's not allowed to use a belt. And I had a kid come in here the other day. He squat maxed without a belt. And, all right, y'all start warming up for your squats. And this is the next time he came in after the last time he maxed. So first time really doing squat reps. After his first set, he goes back and grabs a belt. I said, no. He said, what? I said, yeah, we don't use belts. And he looked at me. I said, if you max with a without a belt and you train with a belt, it's going to make your sets and your reps a lot easier. So we're not going to get the adequate training adaptation because I don't know the exact percentage between the strength of you using a belt versus the strength of you using without the belt. And so I need the proper truck muscles to get stronger so that you can be stronger and a lot more injury uh, resistant. So anyway, so we don't use belts unless we go to a meet because we need to lift as much as possible. And I told a kid, I said, you're lifting with a belt, you may be lifting more weight, but you're not getting stronger like you should be. So that's why if you take two test subjects, one trains with a belt all the time, one trains without a belt, and the kid that trains without the belt will have greater trunk EMGs than the other kid with the belt. So it's just kind of like wearing an ankle brace on your ankles all the time. If you ever go without your ankle braces, you're more likely to hurt your ankle. So anyway, Monday, the rep method. People ask still about this. Usually 6 to 12, and sometimes we'll manipulate it on our folders. Like if you're looking at a workout, like if you got a kid that's got incline, we'll do. I think this past week we did 2 sets of 6. And the last set is all out max reps. And so I'll write the weight in there because sometimes if I just let the kids, if I don't specify, by allowing us to do the repetition method on or maxing out recruiting all neuromuscular units in the fatigue state for development of muscular size, is we got to use repetition method and go all out on our last set. So if you're going to do like 185 on incline, you do a 6 the first set, a 6 the second set, then all out on your last set. And so maybe you get 12. Well, 12 reps is good. I may manipulate the weight to 205 the next time in order to get them down to 6, or I may rep it down and wave it around based off what inning number that I want them to end with. And if I know if they got a hard bench where we're only doing like maybe sets of 3, so if you're going to do 12 reps total volume on there, I may increase the reps or decrease the weight on incline so that I can increase the reps for more volume. And so go all out on last set, because usually, I've talked about I hate freaking sets and reps because a kid thinks that they just go over there and do 3 sets of 10. I turn around, are you done? Yeah, I just said 3 sets of 10, so I just did 30. I said, shoot me. I said, that's not going to do anything for you. Why not? It just said 3 sets of 10, so by regulating it, because every kid in here has got their own individual folder, own individual sticker for them that day. It's not like I'm training like a high school class or like a CrossFit person where everything's on the board. Everybody's got their own workout. Everybody's got their own folder that's written in by me every time they come here. So I don't have people doing that because I'm trying to manipulate each person. And I've got people that may come in here, instead of benching first, they may start on incline first, or instead of jumping first, they may squat first, then jump. So just depending on the person, how long the person's been here. I got some kids that bench with chain. I got some kids that don't bench with any chain. I got some kids that pause bench. I got other kids that don't. So I'm trying to individualize it because at the end of each month, I'm testing everybody. I'm not just testing 1 or 2 people. I'm trying to see what is or what is not working. I'm trying to see how each person responds to what I'm giving them. And you got kids that are starting to listen to podcasts. So just trying to, I forgot which direction I was going because I looked at my stupid freaking paper. Anyway, let's just go there. Kids had started listening to podcasts at gym because they hear me talking about it, and they said, Jared, it actually helps. And I'm sitting there thinking, why are you sitting here talking to me all the time? Then once you listen to the podcast, then you actually start doing what you're supposed to. It's just kind of like, holy shit. Just trying to figure out the psyche behind some of these kids. But anyway, I'm glad it's helping them. And I've had quite a few comments on people that do listen to the podcast. I really appreciate just you telling me thank you and learning from what knowledge that I have to give. And it's my job to help these kids out, help anybody else out that wants help. But anyway, that all out on that last set, we'll jump back to that because these kids make fun of me because my brain's all over the place. Well, you should see it when I'm here and trying to answer 15,000 questions at once. The all out on the last set can be manipulated based off the stress of that kid. Now, sometimes we'll get into it. I may just cut some kids' accessories all out. They may just come in here and bench, or they may come in here and squat, and they may be done. And so it's not, there's variables. Like if you got a kid that comes in and busts their ass all the time, you can probably give them 2 or 3 exercises. Where if you got a kid that's going to half-ass everything, then they're going to have to do more accessories because they're not exhausting themselves enough for that. So, and like Jared, I had a kid come in here and said, Jared, you have to back off on these squats. I said, no, I've been telling you, you got to back off on your accessories. You think you come in here and squat like I want you to squat, and you come in here, you get deadlift, and you go kill yourself on your hamstrings. You're not, Jared, I'm not recovering. Well, no shit, because you're doing too much. I already told you, you can't keep doing all that extra stuff. Look, are you caring about, you care about your squat. So let's come in, not back off on the squat in order for you to get more reps to make your freaking feelings, or you feel better, or make your feelings happy, or whatever I want to say is, if you care about making your squat go up, drop the other shit that you're doing, listen to me, and watch your squat go up, because you're not recovering because you're doing too much shit. I've already told you that. So, got to get that out there. He's probably going to laugh when he hears that, because he can't wait to listen to shit sometimes when I roast on him. But that's the truth. These kids think, you got some kids that come in here, like I was just talking about, kids that do half-ass stuff, they're going to have to do more stuff. But the kids that actually push themselves, that actually care, can get away with doing less. And I'm trying to be an example for that kid. I have been for the last 6 to 8 weeks. My bench press has gone up. You know what I come in here? I bench press. I do nothing else. I haven't even been working my triceps. I'm trying to prove a point. And I get that people want to work out or feel like they come in here and exhaust them. I'm just happy I got the freaking bench. Sometimes I'm so busy and I have to have certain people here to hand the bar off to me, or lift it out to where they can spot me. I've got safety things, and my bench setting's a little different. But some days I miss my bench, and whatever it is. And I'm trying to say it will go up. I used to be that kid years ago. I'd come in, I'd bench 335 for a set of 6, and come back a little while later, and I couldn't even freaking do 295 for 5. I said, how in the hell am I working out all the time and getting weaker? It don't make any freaking sense. And I think it's kind of ingrained in our head that you got to do more work, always work. You work smarter, not freaking harder. And so if I can put a lot of whatever I want to in those sets and focus on how I'm initiating acceleration of the bar, and focus on how I'm benching and get my freaking reps, I'll get stronger. Then you got other people that come in here. Like I had a kid one time, he said, Jared, this don't make any freaking sense. I'm busting my ass and I'm not getting any better. I said, because you're doing too much shit. He said, how does that make any sense? If you want to get better, you do more. I said, no, you work smarter, not harder. It's minimum effective dosage. If I come in here and just bench and triceps and my bench goes up and I care about my bench, let's just take care of that. Let's push that a phase. Then get out of your little brain and go and do you have to do your accessories at different, you don't have to always do everything all the time. So if you want to go through a push cycle, push that bench up, then make sure you come back over here, circle around, and get your accessories. Or like I had a strain one time on my pec because I didn't do my upper back work like I was doing. So if I'm trying to hold my arch and my back flattens out because it can't handle the pressure of the load, then it's going to apply more stress somewhere else, and hence I can get hurt. So and sometimes when I say stuff and you can hear other people, it always depends. It depends on the situation, depends on the day, it depends on that particular kid. I may say one thing to a kid and another kid hears it, and another kid starting to want to hurt a kid, and they mess the other kid up. Well, because it was applied to this person. And so, or box squats bad or regular squats bad? No, it just depends. And sometimes I may have a kid do regular squat versus box squat, or sometimes I may have a kid do front squat versus all the others, or safety squat bar, or even Paul's safety squats. I'm trying to figure out how to say it. It's just, it depends. A lot of stuff works, but it depends on how you use it, when you use it, or whatever. So not really much debating there. I had a guy ask me about hamstring injury prevention. Kid keeps hurting his hamstrings. You got to make sure if you're doing your hamstrings that you work them at both ends. You got to work them at the hip, and you got to work them at the knee. So like good mornings, Regular hyperextensions. If you have a reverse hyper, you can do reverse hyper. Um, the both of them will decompress the spine. It's a little easier to load a regular hyperextension than it is reverse hyper because sometimes people swing the reverse hyper too much, and it takes a while for them to experience. So if you got a younger kid, I would recommend hyperextensions versus reverse hypers because they just want to sit over there and swing it unless you can teach the kid to control it. Um, we do both here. Good mornings, deadlifting, both stances, narrow stance, regular or conventional stance, and sumo stance. That works the hamstrings at the hip. Um, Also, you can do leg curls, Russian leg curls, Nordic hamstrings, poor man glute hams. Those three things are the same. Um, Standing leg curls, banded leg curls, not so much because you can't really add a load to it. So I think you have to strain the gain. You have to load the muscle in order for it to get better. If you're doing sitting over there doing sets of 25 banded leg curls, it's going to burn a hamstring, which will help with ligament tendon strength, but it's not going to help with the muscular strength as much. Um, so you just got to figure out and make sure that you're loading it and not just doing the exercise. You know, if you got loading it, kind of like using the repetition method, going toward that higher end of 12 reps, but failing like that. So make sure you work to prevent hamstring injury. You got to make sure that you're working at the hip and at the knee. Hopefully, I'll cover that. Oh boy, this is kind of aggravating. Got a kid. I just went to a signing this week. Signed for lacrosse. Going to be going to a D1 university to play lacrosse. He was an All-American. His buddy was just meant, and this other kid that comes here, he was mentioned on the national lacrosse, whatever, as a defenseman. So you got two kids, nationally All-American, nationally recognized two kids. Their high school coach, lacrosse coach, craps on them. I mean, it's really freaking bad. And the kids are the strongest and the fastest, and perhaps the best players on the team. And that coach gives them crap because they come here. I don't understand that. And the coach knows who I am. The coach also is the same coach that coached Colton Hauser in football, and also the girls team. They got girls on the lacrosse team that come here. The best players on the girls team also come here. So you got this pool of people that come here that happen to be the best players on their team, and these kids are developed, like and the kid that went to sign for holds a state record for face-off wins. He's a face-off guy, and the other guy's a defenseman. And the girl that comes here broke the high school freaking record for goals scored as a high school junior. So these kids are not just average kids; they're above average. So and the thing wrong that I think I've done probably in the past is I've made kids stronger without adding much muscular size, but because you get ridiculed. Oh, Jared, I don't want to get bigger. Okay, well, not a lot of people want to get bigger. You got people, but no one wants to freaking be weak. No one. And so you got these kids. Their coach said, "Man, they're looking at this other kid that's on this other team, or I don't know exactly the whole details." But I had a parent give me the idea for this. It's like called passing the eye test. This kid from another team is jacked. He's 19 years old. Well, there's a difference between, that's part of it, 19 years old on a team versus being 17 years old team. Physical maturation is going to happen, and of course your body's going to fill out just because of Mother Nature and the aging process itself. But you can tell the kid doesn't work out. His arms, legs. He's a very muscular looking kid, but he can't perform. The parents are telling me like the kids are breaking his ankles and can't change the direction, and he looks good. It's just kind of like, all right, you come in, you want to bench, man, that kid looks like he could bench 315 because he's jacked, and I've had a kid like that before. Sometimes these real muscular looking kids came in, bench max 225. I said, damn, why would you want to look like you could bench 315 and come out bench at 225? If you want to get recognized, you got a little kid comes in, looks like he can't do anything, then he benches 315. You're like, holy cow, how in the hell can he do that? That kid's going to draw more interest. It's the same thing as taking these kids, making them the strongest, the fastest, and having the highest verticals. You take them to a sporting event, and no one really notices it until they do something and like, oh, did you see that? Then more people will get interested instead of having that kid that looks like you expect him to do stuff. Then once he does not hold up to your eyes or the passing the eye test, you just kind of like, okay, then you're that person that says, oh, just because you go to the weight room or you get stronger, being in a weight room all the time don't make you better. Well, being in a weight room does make you better. It's doing the right stuff in the weight room in order to increase your performance. That's why you can use the same tools like someone else can have a gym and I can have a gym. You got the same tools. The training's going to be maybe a little different in order to get the results. So these kids are just working out at school and maybe just doing curls and crap all the time, making their arms look better, but performance sucks. No one wants to squat, like I say all the time. So it really pisses me off that the coach, even more, he said to that defenseman later on that day, he didn't say anything to the guy that signed scholarship that day. Later on that day, he goes, because the coach knows where they freaking go to work out, which is here. He said, do y'all do power cleans there? Kid goes, no. And the coach goes, that's why you're not big. Well, that just goes to show you how retarded the coach is. You don't get bigger by freaking doing power cleans. The bar moves too fast. If you want to create muscular, power cleans help with the rate of force development, not muscular size. I explained that in the dynamic effort method. The bar moves way too freaking fast to create any type of stress load on the muscular system. It's more of a neuromuscular adaptation. And so if you want to create strength, you got to create strain. You got to create stress. The more you strain, the more you freaking gain. It's just not moving too fast. The bar moves too damn fast to create enough muscular tension for that because it's a rate of force development exercise. So it goes to show you that coach don't know what the freak. It's whatever. Passing the eye test, wants the kids to look good, may not perform good. Then he wants to crap on them for not doing. We don't do power cleans. Power cleans, whatever. If someone wants to do power cleans, all by all means, but freaking test something. Come out with a set rep scheme that's going to make that power clean go up. But not only does that power clean go up, it's got to have a direct translation to increasing your vertical jump or your broad jump. There's no point in having or doing a power clean. You got to look at these Olympians, especially overseas, where they kick our ass year after year. They don't work on power cleans to become more explosive. They do jumps. They do bounds. They do box jumps. They do various styles of jumps. They do depth jump in order to increase their rate of force development for their clean. So they're not cleaning to become more explosive. They're doing other stuff to become more explosive for their clean. And if you look at them, like a lot of stuff still goes back and related to squats. Your power clean is going to be about 75% of whatever your front squat is. So you can look that up. Or you can just do a test. Take a lot of kids, front squat them, find out what 75% of their front squat max is, power clean them, and see kind of where they are. Especially if they have the skill to power clean. It may be different if they're not taught how to power clean. So anyway, passing the eye test, coaches being crazy and whatever. Okay, freshman bench. This was Wednesday. Sometimes when these kids come in, especially with the team, you can tell what they're thinking because sometimes a lot of kids just want to come. I regulate for the most part when we bench and when we squat how long our rest period is. I don't regulate the rest periods on our accessory work. So you got a kid, and I wasn't regulating the bench this day, and this person's new. They come in, they bench 4-2-4-2, which means they didn't rest long enough in between their sets. And so I had a kid come in here, he went 5-3-5-2. It's like that second set where they didn't rest long enough and failed on the reps really messed the last setup. So it's just kind of like, a lot of these kids come, they go to high school and they're programmed, I got to move fast. Like I had parents, Jared, why aren't they doing crunches or doing something in between their bench or their squat? Because I'm trying to improve their bench and I'm trying to improve their squat. So I'm going to drive that up and have nothing to do in between so that we're not interfering with or throwing another variable in order to affect the bench. Let's come in, let's get this bench cleaned up. Then once we do that, then we can do whatever. So anyway, biggest thing is for those of you who listen, regulate your bench. If you're 300 pounds, if you're 275 or less, 3.5 minutes. If you're below 200 pounds, maybe you get around 2 minutes or whatever. And sometimes I do give my kids 3 minutes. Most of the time, three and a half. But depending on how weak. So if you're under 100 pounds, you may only need a minute and a half. I take 6.5 minutes for mine because I want to get my reps. I'm more about, it's not, in school, I think sometimes a lot of these kids are taught, just take off your weight to get more reps. No, don't take off the weight. Fight. If you want to get stronger, you fight to get your reps. You don't take off weight in order to get your reps. That's just kind of like being a lazy way out of it. So anyway, speaking of stuff like this, and your kids should be the examples of your coaching knowledge. All right. Cody, Kyle, and Colton were all my kids. Cody had a 46-inch vertical. Kyle had a 44. Colton had a 44. They all ran 4.6, 4.5 40s. 40, all jumped 10-foot broad jumps. So they could bench, they could squat, they could deadlift, and they can run, and they can jump. And it's up. That's my job, was to give them the physical ability to do whatever. Now the skill comes from their coaches, which need to figure out how to get the coaches to pass on their knowledge to the kids. You know, you got a kid on the lacrosse team. I said, okay, his dad's a coach. How's that kid? And one of the kids said, Jared, he's like half a butt cheek. So I don't know what that means. But anyway, so if you're a coach and you got other gym owners out there that have kids, I think, and I firmly believe that your kids need to be example of your knowledge. You know, like if my kids weren't able to do the stuff they're doing, what do I know? I'm just doing a freaking hobby. You know, I want to learn and test and learn what's going on with everybody. And so if my kids can't accurately represent the gym, I'm a failure. So, and if your kid plays football, or if he plays lacrosse, or he plays basketball, and you're a coach, your kids should be the example of your team, like my kids were the example of the gym. They could do it all. They may not have been the greatest well, Colton was pretty good, Kyle was pretty good. The skill was being lacked because I didn't know how to do that. Okay, so I should probably have that hired out somewhere else, but you don't know, because sometimes when you see these people, you got a professional athlete that gives lessons, but just because they're a professional athlete don't mean they know anything. You know, sometimes I've talked about it before. They're given that God-given ability to do something, and so their way they describe it may not in order translate to you. And so, just like that one kid I talked about on a podcast back a couple of episodes back, is that the kid was able to naturally jump 40-something inch vertical. So he's giving advice on people just leg press because that's what he did. Well, if he's a natural jumper, he can go freaking ride a bike and his vertical jump probably go up. But leg pressing's not that. When you run and when you jump, your knees and your hips extend at the same time, just like when you freaking squat. If you do leg press, you're laying on your back and your hips never extend, so you're only getting knee extension if you do leg press. That's why leg press is not good for athletic performance. You know, you're getting your legs stronger, yeah, maybe at the knee. We need them stronger all over. So anyway, thank you all for watching. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions, please email me, info@explosivemechanics. Follow me on Instagram @explosivemechanics, Twitter @explosivemec, or even Facebook, Explosive Mechanics. So anyway, thank you all for watching. Thank you for listening. Have a good day.